Thank you, Adam. Good evening, candidates. On the topic of immigration, let's put aside illegal immigration for a moment and focus on legal immigration, which President Trump has proposed cutting by 50% over the next 10 years. So, Mr. Belanger, do you believe that legal immigration is changing America in a bad way and should be curtailed?
Well, yeah, because you may have half the family members that come in here legally, but it's the other half that may be the criminal half that'll come in here illegally. Because once someone gets established here, they can send money back to their home country to help those folks come into our country. And when they get here, they gravitate around these sanctuary cities, and where they know they'll be protected, because the left's is not, we're not going after the police officers and the sheriffs and the court judges that are allowing these criminals to do bad things. But yes, I do believe that some part of illegal immigration is affecting us.
Mr. Boulogne.
My sister owns an apartment building in Canaan, Vermont, and I was managing it for her while her daughter was having medical issues. And there was a tenant there named Sanjay, was his first name. He's from India. And we got to chatting, and he wasn't hiding anything. He was here legally. He was on a visa, work visa. So we started figuring out, asking him questions, as I was just curious. And they put him up, they feed him. It was like 6 months. He was doing some IT work for, I forget the company. And I asked him, how much he was making an hour. And he was, says $2 an hour. And what it is the contractors hire them out, and they pay the contractor in the amount of minimum wage, but they pay them only $2 an hour. But they feed them, clothe them, and for $2 an hour, and all he did was work and sleep. And he sends the $2 an hour home to India, where $2 an hour is worth like $30 an hour.
Thank you, Mr. Boulogne. Ms. Blankenbecker.
Thank you. First of all, I think the lottery system was terrible, and I think that the president has, even though that was a legal way to come into this country, that was really a terrible way to come in, to bring in folks that we weren't sure who was going to win the lottery and come in. So I think that was a good first start with our president and decreasing the amount of legal immigrants. There's many, many ways to come in this country. There's over 100 ways to come in through different types of visas. People can come in on work visas. People can come in on school visas. But we need to make sure that we have enough resources for all those people that are coming in as well. So, I think that we need to look at our process. If our immigration system is broken, we need to look at that to make sure that we're getting the right people in here. But, I think our president's doing a good job. He's forward thinking, and I think that he's certainly looked into this and putting in those new processes, like getting rid of the lottery system, is a first good step.
Mr. Levinson.
Yes. When I first started looking into this a year ago, I saw that our whole immigration policy was a national fiasco. Now I feel it's been a national tragedy. We can't even agree as a country on what to do with the violent criminals that have become a scourge of our inner city. That recently we had that case of Molly Tibbetts, who was murdered by a violent criminal immigrant, and yet we have sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. This has to end. I myself am particularly upset with in-state tuition for illegals. It took me 7 years to go through college. I was a factory worker. I was a waiter all the time, trying to take a college course here and there, and it was tough. We have to start taking care of our own citizens before we decide what's going to be next. There are areas that people can come here as guest workers. Our own agricultural industry can't get enough workers. They have to advertise at huge cost to show they can't fill jobs, and yet this whole system is just not working.
Mr. Burns.
So my mother emigrated here legally. So, I understand this. And quite frankly, it is unfortunate sometimes when people are trying to come here legally and it is a marriage type situation and they have trouble getting here because of all the problems that the illegal immigration has caused. So let me talk about illegal immigration for just 1 second. One of the things about illegal immigration that we don't talk about that is happening is vacation births, where people from mostly Russia and China are coming here and having anchor babies. And what we really do need to do is crack down on those parents who are doing stuff like that. But But as far as illegal immigration, yeah, absolutely. We need more legal immigration, but it needs to be merit-based. Now, I've spent a lot of time abroad and down in places like Mexico where Canada advertises for Mexicans to move to Canada, and it's merit-based. If you don't work out there, if you're not a good worker, if you don't hit certain points, and Switzerland does this as well, then you get sent home. But that way you keep the best and the brightest, the people that you actually need for your workforce. And when we have extremely low unemployment, as we do right now, we need those workers.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Negron.
Thank you, Adam. I haven't just started looking into this over the last year. I've lived this. My grandfather is a legal immigrant from Mexico, came here in 1921. So there is a process by which we need to come into this country. We're a land of laws. We need to follow those laws, and if we're not, we need to get back to it. I think what you look at the Pew Research Company institution, and they said in 2015 there were about 11, at a conservative estimate, 11 illegal immigrants in this country. So when I hear my president say, we may have to slow down the flow of illegal immigrants, he's just trying to balance the scales. So we have to figure out where those 11 million are. Where are they? What are they doing here? Do they get sent back to where they came from? And then we can actually start the process of bringing people into this country legally. The president has done some great things. He stopped chain migration. He's about to stop chain migration and the lottery. Look, there's a process, folks, and we need to get back to it.